Hey everybody, welcome to another live Thursday Orthodoxy Q&A. Well, as you can tell, this is not Presbytera, okay? We have, as most of you have probably seen, we get here, as with other Orthodox churches, a lot of converts that come into the church. However, my guest tonight is not a convert like me, he's Cradle Orthodox. So Hopt has come to us from Fresno, from California. And extremely experienced in Orthodoxy. Interesting journey too, even though he's born into Orthodoxy like many of us. And so I just wanted him to talk a little bit about that. We just came back from your studying at RIT.
Yes.
And we just came back from a faith fair, right,
Yes.
where the different faiths were engaging. So we were talking there. You've been helping me out at the altar as an acolyte, and so we've had a chance to talk a little bit. So just wanted to give the audience a little idea of, what are some of the differences? Like sometimes they'll say, well, Orthodoxy is just, Orthodoxy. But since you've been to as part of an Ethiopian church, then you were an Antiochian, and now you're Greek Orthodox. So, I know what Greek Orthodox is. What are the other ones like?
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for having me here, Father. I'm glad for the opportunity, and it was great discussing with you for the
fair. That was fun.
Yeah,
that was fun.
Yeah, that was super fun, and I'm glad I was able to have you there. But anyways, yeah, I grew up in the Ethiopian church, and I was baptized there. And
so what's your background then? Cultural background.
Yeah. I'm a quarter Ethiopian, a quarter Eritrean. I'm a little bit Italian, and Polish.
Wow. Okay.
On my dad's side, and a little bit Irish on my dad's side too. A little bit of everything.
That's where your red hair comes from, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So anyway, sorry.
But anyways, yeah, I don't remember much since I grew up in the I grew up in the Eastern Orthodox Church. So, but from what I do remember about the Ethiopian churches, I remember mostly going there for the Easter service. There's I remember it went all night for Easter, similarly to how it does here, and a lot of people wore these white clothings.
Okay.
To cover themselves up. A lot of and generally it would sort of be like at a monastery where the men were on the right, the women were on the left.
Okay, so there's that separation.
Yeah.
Is the Ethiopian church that I've visited? So they do not wear shoes inside the church?
Yes. We don't wear. Yeah. In the Ethiopian church, we didn't wear shoes. I think the way it was explained to me was like when Moses was
on Mount Sinai.
When also when the burning bush was when the Lord speaking through the burning bush.
Because it was holy ground.
It's holy ground.
Okay.
So I think that's where the idea came from. Also, another thing was I remember there being drums, and my parents have this story that they shared with me when I was 2.5 years old. I went on to I tried to join in and play on one of the drums. But yeah, anyways, I grew up going to an Antiochian parish for its Church of the Redeemer in, I think, Palo Alto, though might be lost. It's in the Bay Area in California.
Okay.
And then I moved to Fresno about 5 or 6 years ago and started going to a Greek Orthodox church in St. George Greek Orthodox Church in Fresno, California. And I gotta be honest, with sort of differences, there isn't much I could say because it's all the church. But
same. But I thought maybe there might be some differences in terms of like liturgical differences in terms of maybe how the great entrance was done. I'm thinking, or maybe maybe you probably had deacons in the Antiochian church,
Yes, yeah.
right? Whereas in the Greek Orthodox Church, we don't really have a lot of deacons. Okay, so that might be one of the differences.
Yeah.
So the other thing too that we talked about is you've also got an Orthodox channel, right?
Yes, yes. Midst, if you search up youtube.com, well, if you search Christ is in our midst with no spaces, you should find my channel. The podcast is called Midst. So far I have 5 episodes out and I'm working on my 6th one. I hope to have Father Angelo on. I hope to interview him in the near future. But yeah, I basically interview priests or I basically interview Orthodox people.
Okay.
And have discussions about what we believe. And we've talked about icons, we've talked about the Jesus prayer, we've talked about a lot of different things. So
awesome,
yeah.
Awesome. So, like I said, I think it's interesting for our audience, to see not only converts but also to hear really good stories from those of us who grew up in our faith. And I just haven't met a whole lot of people. Usually we grow up in one church, but you've had the opportunity to kind of grow up in, at least be familiar with tradition from 3 churches. So that's awesome. So hey, I look forward to being on the channel, huh?
I'm glad I could come, and yeah, I'm looking forward to that too.
Awesome. We'll see you soon, huh?
See you soon.
Thanks.
All right. Well, while we're having that switch up, Father, how did you enjoy this year's, as you said in your video, Harvest Festival?
It has become I think the new, I shouldn't say new, it's been around for a while, but I think it's a good safe outlet for our kids to one, be part of their community, and number 2, for the parents to get together, because a lot of times the parents haven't seen one another. And I'll tell you what, the parents just get a real kick out of decorating their vehicles, and almost every one of them has some kind of game, like a ring toss or hopscotch on squares or something that they can win the
very
candy.
Interactive.
Oh yeah, it's definitely interactive.
Well, in that video, because we put out a kind of a hodgepodge, we put out the story you told the children, but then we did have that beginning where we explored the topic. In that video, there were a few comments from people addressing some of the costumes the kids were wearing. So let's just say you are an Orthodox parent and you throw a Harvest Festival, quasi-Halloween celebration, and you get kids that come in costumes that you may not feel are appropriate, like witches or so forth. What's the best Orthodox way to handle that?
So, and again, certainly it depends on the age of the kid. But if we're talking about trick or treat little kids, okay, what we have to tell them as parents is that what would Jesus do, right? Okay, and we certainly don't want, as a parent, I don't want you to wear anything that, let's say, Jesus wouldn't like. And he wouldn't like you wearing a devil's costume. And he certainly wouldn't like you wearing something with witches, And again, we're not trying to say, I'm stopping here because I'm just
because you're not trying to say.
I'm not trying. Yeah. I'm not trying to say. I don't want to. I don't want to say. So I don't want to get all bent out of shape about the word Halloween and all that. We do officially call it a harvest festival. Okay, everybody of course knows it as Halloween, but we want to tell our kids that those things that are celebrated normally for Halloween are not what we do as Christians. So we want to be more creative, and so have the kids spend more time thinking about what are some really interesting costumes. Like, for example, I saw this on YouTube, which I thought was really, really cool. This kid made up a costume. He took a what's that? The plastic tote thing, huge plastic tote thing. Cut out the side of it, and then he attached this skeleton with the arms around it. Okay. And then the kid put his head through the tote, and it was an outhouse. And he had a little piece of toilet paper on there, and and then his legs were sticking out, and he was walking around, but it made it look like it was the skeleton carrying him around in this outhouse. So, maybe
That is creative.
Oh man, you got to look up
that.
You got to look at the video. The video is really cool. But let's be creative with our costumes. So I did see a lot of really cool creative costumes, and just say, that's not something that we as Christians would do. So why don't we think of something that would be really cool? Do you have any?
Well, could you have a contest for the best costume taken from the Bible? Like, I remember seeing a picture online. It was Jonah in the whale, and it was the kid, and then they had a big whale around
and he was
and he was inside the whale. Things like that.
Yeah. So yeah, right. Best costume for the Bible. Yeah, exactly.
As long as they don't do the witches of Endor.
Yes.
That's a great story.
Well,
you should check out the video.
Or the witch. All right. Are you ready for some questions? Or
you were thinking of the witches of Eastwick for a moment. That's what.
No, they didn't do the witch of it. Oh.
That's why you said witches.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Anyway, we have a submitted question. Let's just jump into it tonight. Fast Go Man asked, this was during our Divine Liturgy live stream on Sunday, why does the church, our church, look so modern? It's my first time seeing an Orthodox church like this. It looks very different from the ones in Europe, even Greece itself. And then Suli Ann, AR, I'm probably mispronouncing that, goes on to also ask, was this church built specifically as an Orthodox church?
So I'm going to answer the second question, which is, I don't know, because we weren't here when the church was built. So, and I don't have a background in that says why they built the church the way they built.
I was told it was built. It was new. It was built for the church. Yes.
So this was specifically built not as something else, and it became Orthodox church.
No, we actually have the entire photo collage of the building of the church on our website.
Oh, that's right.
57, I believe.
57. Right. So the answer to the first question, why does it look so modern? So in the 1960s, certainly within the Greek Orthodox Archdiocese, there was, again, we were victims of the 1960s kind of modernization, getting all groovy, and so you saw a lot of changes in the way that Orthodox churches were done. In fact, some of the churches, like our hometown church in Michigan, was designed by or was somewhat designed by Frank Lloyd Wright, right?
One of his students.
Oh, one of his students. Mm-hmm. So that kind of sunken church.
It's a basilica-style church.
It's a basilica-style church. So so that's copying those tendencies to in the 60s to break away from that traditional style and to have something that more reflects modern look. Now, when you look at new churches being built, they've reverted back to that much more traditional style that you'll see in Europe.
Should it be recommended that churches change to reflect more of that traditional style, or if you have an existing church, be blessed that you have it?
No, I mean, be proud of the church that you have. I mean, the church was built. In all cases, the church was built out of love for our faith and love of our people. Some people wanted something a little bit more modern, okay, and then others wanted more traditional. But there's no such thing as, well, this is the right look for the church and this is the wrong look for the church.
All right. Are you ready to?
I thought I already started.
Oh, well, okay. First up is PF Stats, and they say church fathers that are saints say a lot of things that are the opposite of what the church says today. A head priest said to use reason when dealing with the church and not blind faith. What are your thoughts?
So you're absolutely right. And this is why we have synods and ecumenical councils, because bishops the Holy Fathers were bishops, okay, for the most part, if they're not theologians, all right, and individually they said things that weren't necessarily didn't necessarily reflect Orthodox values, but that's why we have synods to discuss these things, okay. I mean, I've certainly said things that weren't correct every once in a while, right? That's why you're here, all right? Okay, so the church decides what is the proper doctrine, and she does that through her synods. So to say that, I mean, and the Holy Fathers are fallible; they're human beings. So to say that they're perfect is improper. So they've over the years they've said many things that are not necessarily correct. Now that doesn't mean throw the baby out with the bathwater. That nothing they said is worthwhile. Origen said things that were definitely not Orthodox theology, but also he had a lot of good things that he wrote too. So that's how we have to look at them as human.
All right. Cooking with Bebug starts out with good evening and blessed feast day of the icon of the Mother of God, joy of all who sorrow. So, and
not to be confused with the Mary of Seven Sorrows, which is the Catholic one. So the Mary Joy of Sorrows is the joy of sorrows is that those sorrows of, you know, homeless, nakedness, poverty, suffering, those, she is the joy of that sorrow. Whereas the seven sorrows for the Catholics are the sorrows that she experienced with Christ.
okay. Thank you.
Just clarification.
And the question is, if someone feels spiritually dry and struggles to pray or feel God's presence for a long period of time, is that considered a form of punishment or simply a trial of faith allowed by God to strengthen the soul?
So I would go with the second one. That's why I do. Like I said, you've seen me talk about this book before. I had it as a Bible study. You know, Father Matthew, the Orthodox Prayer Life, the Interior Way, and in here he has an entire section where he give me one second here. Okay. And so in chapter 2, he talks about degrees of prayer. Okay. But then he talks about in chapter 3 beyond prayer, and he says that you will come to a point that, your prayer life will become difficult. And I think they use the word dry.
Yes.
And he speaks about kind of arid or dry, and that is part of the prayer process. Okay. And so it's something that you don't want to feel despair in, because it is part of that process. It's going, according to in his book, The Interior Way, this is now going into that next degree of prayer. So don't look at it as a bad thing, but look at it as it's not a test. I don't want to say that it's a test, but what it is it's you experiencing that growth in prayer. He does a better job of explaining it, but I would highly recommend, especially on that particular topic, that question, is The Orthodox Prayer Life by Father Matthew the Poor. Very good, very well done.
All right.
Wish I could have found it, but you're going to tell me that I'm running out of time. So.
All right. Next question comes from Marcello. I've heard about and seen communities practicing the Western Rite, but I'm a bit confused about what they actually are. How do their liturgies and practices differ from the usual Eastern Orthodox tradition? And why aren't all of these Western Rite groups fully in communion with the main Orthodox churches?
So, I've been trying to finish this up. I'm like one page away from having it done, and I'm going to have this posted on our website. And what this is a review on the Western Rite, okay, and talking about the history of the Western Rite, which it does go back all the way to the 10th century. So it's not anything that is new per se, but its recent rebirth was in the late 19th century. As Western Rite grew within America, and it was somewhat embraced by the Russian Orthodox Church. All right, not fully, but somewhat. And there are typically 3 Western Rite liturgies. Okay, the liturgy of Saint Tikhon, the liturgy of Saint Gregory, and then there's a Russian adaptation from the Common Book of Prayer. So there's those 3 types of liturgies that are being practiced here in America. There are not a lot of Western Rite churches here in America. I think Wisconsin is one area. I think we've seen that priest talk about it. But specifically in terms of the challenges that the Western Rite has seen is, number 1, a lack of growth. Number 2, a lack of converts, okay, which obviously ties into the first. And then in some of the letters that have been written specifically by, give me just 1 second here, specifically by Father Alexander Schmemann, John Meyendorf, and Father Michael Johnson, who have spoken about the fact that to some extent it does promote division. And so what does he mean by that is he makes an interesting comment, and he says, from an Eastern perspective, Western Rite is interesting, and from a Western perspective, it is already something that is here. So I thought that was kind of funny, because they have it as almost an intermediary step. If I'm Catholic, then Western Rite will be attractive to me because there's similarities, but I'm still within an Orthodox setting. And so from an Eastern Orthodox perspective, our thinking is just make the leap, right? Orthodoxy, it's Orthodoxy, okay? If you enjoy Western Rite, then there is the Byzantine Catholic Church, but there tends to be within the Western Rite kind of a collection of different services, common prayer, some of the Catholic liturgies, and some of the Orthodox. So it tends to become kind of a mixture. So it does certainly have its challenges, but the complete paper is going to be up here within a week up on our website.
And will probably be the basis for a future video as well.
Yes, yes. All right. Our next question. Sorry if I mispronounce this, but Alizig, not sure. Sorry. But the question is, how do the Orthodox feel about birth control if a woman needs help to get their menstrual cycle? So it is used for medical purposes. I have mixed views about this topic. So how does the Orthodox Church feel about it's birth control, not to stop from having kids, but it's aiding a woman medically?
So, so more than likely, and again, you're going to know better on this than I am, is typically if she's going through, now that doesn't say menopause, but she's going through menopause, she's older, she's probably on the other side of having kids, right?
Well, it's also birth control is one of the reasons they push it for younger women is to the regulation of their menstrual cycle.
So that's an interesting topic. There's a great book for the what?
Laughing.
I'm laughing.
What?
Well, it's a bingo card getting ready to be.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, bingo. All right. Great book, because we don't have a lot of books on current social issues. So this was published by the Patriarchate for the Life of the World towards the social ethos of the Orthodox Church. And so just to read this, and then just a quick discussion after that. The Church anticipates that most marriages will be open to conception. Okay, because how many times in the marriage service do you hear, right, that they'll have lots of children, the bearing of children,
be fruitful.
Be fruitful, right? Okay, you hear that. All right, but also understands that there are situations in which spiritual, physical, psychological, or financial impediments arise that make it wise, at least for a time, to delay or forego the bearing of children. the Orthodox Church has no dogmatic objection to the use of safe and non-abortive contraceptives within the context of married life, but not as an ideal or a permanent arrangement, okay? But as a provisional concession to necessity. Okay, so
Oh, can I clarify? That's not abortive. It's abortifacient.
I couldn't pronounce that word, so
Oh,
I
but
changed
abortive
it.
makes it sound like to get rid of a baby.
What
So,
is that thing? What is that word then? Non-abortive.
abortifacient.
What does that mean?
I don't know, but I just want to make sure you're not saying aborting a baby.
Well, I'm pretty sure that's actually what that
Does
word
it mean
means.
that?
I think so, but
Oh.
I need to see it.
Okay.
All right.
Oh, you may have been right then.
Okay, so this does not certainly answer the question directly, okay? But what I wanted to point out is the church has no dogmatic objection to the use of safe contraceptive matters within the context of married life, but not as an ideal or permanent arrangement, okay? So the use of the drug for menstrual cycles can make it a permanent arrangement, right? Because I'm going to be using it on a continuous basis. And the idea within childbearing is that we don't want to avoid childbearing.
Well,
So-
it doesn't mean necessarily permanent. It may be a short time.
Yeah, so then it can fall with, I don't want to be legalistic here, but it can fall within that category, that this is something that for right now is helping to relieve, some of the suffering that I'm having. But I don't want it to be such that it stops the childbearing process.
Okay.
And yes, it's any substance that is used to terminate a pregnancy.
Oh, it is
Yep.
abortifacient. Never heard that before.
Every week we're just gonna have
Oh
to
my
learn a new word.
Learn a
that's
new word.
That's
Word
the
of the
that's
day.
that's the word of the day.
Oh goodness. All right. Let's see. I think the next question comes from Egg Spammy. How does a man know if he is called to the priesthood? I had the thought once, out of nowhere, 12 years ago, but ignored it and pursued a secular life and / career. The thought reemerged time again and again, especially after priests told me I would make a good one, but I'm unsure if it's a calling or my own choice. What should I do to discern this properly?
So, do you know anybody like that?
You?
Yes. I mean, basically, you're describing me. I mean, I thought I had heard. I mean, looking back now, I can see that I heard that call. Okay, but I chose engineering. I chose a career, and it did come up. And then I did have priests that say, "Oh, I think you'd make a good priest." And I'm like, I would just laugh it off and you don't know what you're talking about. And if you knew me better, you'd never say things like that. But people kept saying that. All right. And so finally I did find a priest that was persistent and persuasive enough that I was able to see it in myself. So to some extent, we do have to trust our spiritual father, that he is looking out for our best interests. All right. And mine was, I mean, and he worked on it for a long time because, he would tell me in the beginning, I'd laugh at it. And, so this went on for years. Okay. But then eventually we got to the point that he's had me sit down and seriously consider it. All right. So you're right. Priesthood is a calling, okay? But it's not going to, especially in my case, it's not going to come in a wave like, you know what? I know now I should be a priest. I never felt like that. I more had to trust that my spiritual father knew what he was doing, And then as I, went to seminary and learned, I thought, okay, yeah, now I feel much more comfortable in this position. So it wasn't just a matter of I felt called, but I had somebody who recognized that in me. So it is there's a dual concept there.
But some men do get the calling, and
that's true. Now, certainly some men, but the way he described himself, he thought he had the calling, then he went to secular life, and all that is fine, okay. But maintain a good relationship with your spiritual father, and then let him guide you as you move along.
And in the end, if God feels that you should be a priest, I think you're going to end up as a priest.
You're going to end up as a priest.
All right. We have good afternoons and God blesses from the Crusader Rises, who goes on to say that the instrumental used in this video is fire. We have a double opa from Patty Peterson and Carol Weaver, who also points out that she's looking forward to tonight's show, and it's a chance to grow and to learn more in our faith. Thank you. Welcome.
And certainly for me to grow too. I mean, to learn, right? I mean, I get, we'll if I don't know something, we'll ask the viewers, and all of a sudden they'll pop up with an answer. So hey, our viewers are really good too. Viewers, chatters,
our online family,
our digital ministry.
There we go. All right, next question. I cannot pronounce this. ZX6BRIN. Would it be possible for me to get a prayer rule from my parish priest without being baptized into the church? I'm currently converting from the Baptist church and hoping to start catechumen soon.
Well, since you came from the Baptist faith, I'll let you start that one. What would you say? I mean, a Baptist a prayer rule.
No, he wants to know if you can get a
prayer rule
from their parish priest.
Oh, from their parish priest.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see why not. I mean, I've had a number of converts ask me, about Orthodox prayer. What does Orthodox think about prayer? What is a good prayer? And so certainly I think that's a great question for the priest to begin that journey, into Orthodoxy. And there's a number of really, really good prayer rules. And what he could do, if you talk with him, is he can give you something that would specifically be geared, I think, a little bit better to what it is that you need.
All right. Next one is from Gomi. And they say, I struggle with the mystical side of Orthodoxy since I tend to expect logical answers to mysteries. What advice would you give to someone struggling with this mindset?
Chill out, man. Well, I mean, even in science, there are things that cannot be explained. And that doesn't stop us from continuing in science. There is a mystery within the scientific world. All right. So within Orthodoxy, or within the Christian faith, there are a number of things that are extremely logical, well thought out, well presented. But there are also things that are mystical, that are a mystery. Okay, what is the Trinity? How can he be fully God and fully man at the same time? How could he be immaculately conceived? So there's a number of the Holy Communion. So there are certainly things that we are not capable of explaining. So since we accept mysteries in science, but we don't I'm just turning this off here, but we don't say, well, because there's mysteries in science, we can't really use our logic. Of course we can. So there are mysteries, and it just means that these are things that are not accessible to the logic framework that we have currently.
All right. Next is from Aaron. He says, evening all. We know that there are many who would say that Islam believes in the same God as us. But as you read deeper into the theology of Islam, the Quran, Hadiths, I think, it's glaringly obvious this is not the case at all. How can we reconcile these facts and still say that this faith worships the same God? I would highly recommend reading deeper into its theology if you haven't yet.
So again, we can't say that, just as we wouldn't say that Judaism believes in the same God, we can't say that Islam does, because Christians believe in the monotheistic God who expresses himself in a triune fashion. Okay, and both Jews and Muslims are going to say that that is false. So therefore, we do not worship the same God. All right, in a monotheistic sense, yes, but he expresses himself in a triune manner. Okay, so that is a different idea of who God is. All right, so if we dwell into that, I don't think that we're going to see anything within the Quran that's going to tell us that there is the idea of a triune God. What Stephen Young tells us in his book God as a Man of War,
Right, God is a man of war.
okay, that there was in early Judaism at least the idea of a not a triune but a diune God, that there was Father and there was Son. So there was that idea in early Judaism, and then after the destruction of the temple, that rabbinic Judaism then took that out of what was the Judaisms of the time, so that there became a standard Judaistic faith, and that became the monotheistic faith that eliminated that diune portion that was in previous Judaism.
Okay. I think you answered the question. I'm not sure. Okay.
Well, no,
Give
he
me
was
a thumbs
asking,
up.
if we dig deeper into the Quran, and I don't
Okay.
think that we're going to find that if we dig deeper.
Okay. All right. Ren 1347 would like to know what you think about the belief that the Ark of the Covenant is in Ethiopia.
It's the Church of Zion. They say that it's the Ethiopian Orthodox. They say that there is a priest that goes in there. There are a lot of wild stories
We
about
saw a
it.
video on that one a
Yeah.
long time ago,
Yeah.
a documentary about that.
Well,
Apparently, the sole priest that goes into the chamber with the ark, supposedly they don't last very long. They go blind. They develop cataracts, etc., etc.
okay.
So
Um,
it's a lot said, not seen.
but that's where I was going to go. A lot said, not seen. Okay. If they did not possess the ark, it would not change my Orthodox faith. If they did possess the ark, it wouldn't change my Orthodox faith. The ark is somewhere. Okay, so I don't know. I mean, I don't know what I would do if I found out that the ark exists. I mean, that would be a wonderful thing, but my faith wouldn't change.
What do you mean if you found out that it's been found?
That's yeah. If the ark has been found, it doesn't do anything to my faith. I mean, if it could improve it because now the ark exists, there's proof. There, I mean, yes. So it would do something to my faith. Yes.
Well, there's one thing I know would happen. We'd make a travel video in Ethiopia.
We'd make a travel video to Ethiopia to go see it. Yes,
There we
exactly.
go.
Right.
All right. All right. The Crusader Rises says, I am nowhere near an Orthodox church, and this is a problem and many people I know also have. There's just not enough Orthodox churches in the U.S. So what are we supposed to do? I cannot drive 4+ hours.
Okay, so before I answer that, chat me back in and at least tell me what state you're in.
Okay.
And Father's gonna look at the map of the states.
Big red book. I want to find out. So
So when
he's going to chat back in and then.
All right. Let's see. Is it? Oh, yes. I believe this is the next question from Carol Weaver. The churches are to be built so you walk in from the west, facing east to the altar and iconostasis.
Right.
I think this is still true. I tried to put my icons in the east for my home church, my prayer corner.
Okay.
So is that is true? Yes, you walk. The front door should be where you enter from the west, facing to the east.
For a church, yes.
Yes. Right.
I know, and unfortunately, I know a few churches that they weren't able to do that. But yes, that is the practice, because we do want to be able to see Christ when He comes.
Okay. Okay. Miggs. Okay. Miggs says, should the Orthodox Church have something where it defines terms and clarifies misinformation of confusion of doctrine for the sake of the people or confusion?
That would be lovely. If we could have that, that would be almost utopian for us. But you know, the Orthodox Church as a whole is not unified yet. You know, I mean, you know, we think we speak about, oh well, you know, we're all Orthodox. You know, there is only one Orthodox faith. Well, you know, I mean, if you look at the Russian Orthodox Church versus the Greek Orthodox Church versus the Antiochian Church, you're going to see, you know, different things. Dogmatically, they're going to be the same, but they have very different ideas when we start talking about, you know, a social ethos in terms of what can and can be done. The first one that I'll mention is the marriage of heterorthodox to Orthodox. Okay, that's a big thing that we're still fighting is how can America marry in their own Orthodox church someone who is not Orthodox? How can we do that? Okay, so that's a huge point of contention there.
We have a viewer that I want to highlight real quick, brand new to the channel, Lenny2939, who says, thank you for hosting this. I'm new to all things Orthodox. I've just discovered it today.
Good.
And
all right.
I'm soaking up everything I can. Father, what point of advice would you have to somebody just literally starting their Orthodox journey today?
You know what I'm going to say?
Go to a church and talk to the priest.
Well, that's one of the things. But I was gonna start with slow. Go slow.
Oh,
slow.
yes.
Don't go supernova. You know, we just had this discussion where, you know, sometimes they'll come to me and they'll say, Father, give me a list of books I should read. And my answer is, you know, slow down, Hoss, and come to church and just experience church first and then learn about it. Okay, so you can take your time with this, all right? And then certainly when you go to the church, okay, then see if you can get a chance to introduce yourself to the priest. Now, you're not going to be able to talk to the priest during coffee hour. I'm telling you that from experience. That's just not going to work. But you can introduce yourself and say, hi, I'm new to the church, and I'd like to set up a meeting with you during the week. And he's going to say, hey, that's a great idea. You know, call me during the week. Or he's going to say, please call my secretary and we'll set something up. Please don't try to talk to him on Sunday during coffee hour. It's just too difficult. But that's number one, slow down, relax, experience our Orthodox beauty. And then at coffee hour, make an appointment with the priest.
We have an answer from the Crusader Rises, and the state is South Dakota. Nearest one to the Crusader is in Sioux Falls or Rapid City. They're about 3 to 4 hours from each, unfortunately.
So he's in. Oh, did he say where? It's just said South Dakota, right?
Well, you said just state.
Oh, okay. Well, all right. Okay.
States can be big.
Well, he said he's close to Sioux Falls.
Well, Sioux Falls, Rapid City are where the closest churches are, and that's 3
and that's
4.
what I'm looking up here. Sioux Falls. Okay. So South Dakota. Yeah, that is tough.
It's going to be similar to your situation in Montana. You know, when you go to those Midwest, Western states, there's going to be a lot of open space between churches, especially.
And in South Dakota and North Dakota.
So just generally speaking, they're in a situation where they can't. So other people are going to be in situations where you're not going to find a church closer. What's the advice?
Okay. So, hey. Okay. Wow. I found Orthodox Presbyterian Church. That's not a
probably not.
That's probably not an Orthodox church.
So what should they do?
All right. So my advice has been the same one that it's been to people of that live in other countries where Orthodoxy is a bit remote. So find what is the nearest metropolis or diocese, okay? All right, and certainly I can provide that. I know where that is. That's going to be Sioux Falls more than likely. Google the metropolis.
For Iowa, would that be that be Denver?
Denver. Okay, I'm sorry. Right. So call the Denver office. The Denver diocese in Denver has jurisdiction over North Dakota, South Dakota, Nebraska, that area. Okay, and just say, here is my situation. Okay, and what I would like is what church, or do you have a church that is near to me? All right. If they don't, what they will more than likely do is they will allow you to go to a church that is close to the Orthodox Church, more than likely a Catholic church, possibly a Lutheran church or an Episcopalian church, Anglican church. And so they'll say, okay, have a life in the church in that church, but as Orthodox, we want you maybe twice a year to make a pilgrimage to an Orthodox church, so that you are able to participate in an Orthodox church. More than likely, they will give you the permission, or as we say, the avia, which is permission, so that you can, assuming that you're Orthodox, that you would be able to receive communion in a Catholic church because of the logistics issues that you have. But you can't start with the parish. You've got to start with the archdiocese. Okay, and so you got two choices. Well, actually, technically, you got three choices. You can try the Greek Archdiocese, which is in Denver. You can try the OCA, the Orthodox Church of America Archdiocese, or you can try the Antiochian Archdiocese. You can try all three to see where is the closest church. But once you do that, then you can ask them, what could I do on a weekly basis if I have like a Catholic church near me? And that 2 times, 3 times a year, I would then go to an Orthodox church. But start that discussion with one of those 3 archdioceses.
All right. Carol Weaver asks, do you highly feel we need our own home prayer corners? Love the idea of the prayer corner and think it's a really nice idea for children and grandchildren and family to pray.
Yeah, I do think it's important, because when on the prayer corner that we have, right, we need to use it more. But like when your mom passed away, we did the Trisayon at the prayer corner. So it gave us a place that we could go, not that we had to go there, but with our icons there, and then with a candle lit, and then we did the Trisayon. It was very nice. So it gave us a sense of belonging.
Yes. And we do use it often. We do use it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but you also have the benefit of going to a church every single day.
Well,
right.
okay.
All right. Donis You asks, why does a priest wave a cloth during the creed?
So
it's not because he's hot.
That's right. So just give me 1 second here. All right.
All right. So,
And
Presbytera,
so-
how are we gonna kill some time here?
Let's see.
How are you doing today?
Good. There are some other things in between. I always say for you to say when they aren't questions, but people saying thank you for doing the show. And
Oh, okay.
And Richard Rudolph, as always, like, share, and subscribe. Thank you for reminding us. Please help our channel grow by liking, sharing, and
Yes.
subscribing. And in the rare chance you see YouTube is brand new, kind of crazy hype button, hit it. It'll help. I think it'll do something.
And I just, one of the best books on the development of the liturgy in the Byzantine Rite is Hugh Wybrew. This is the Orthodox liturgy and development of the Byzantine Rite. Hugh Wybrew is probably the best at giving us the entire history of this, and so I just that's why I just wanted to take just a second here. Um,
And hello
Did
to little Lynn and Richard's
Oh.
son, little Richard.
Yeah, they pointed out they're so late. We just got home. Lynn wanted chicken, but the chicken place is closed. But
Oh.
they found one and they got there 45 minutes away.
Okay.
Well, when you get that chicken urge, it's worth it.
That's right.
Okay.
Have you found what you look for?
So
We're talking about
yeah.
chicken. We're desperate here.
Yeah, I know,
Father.
right? Okay.
We resorted to chicken.
So the idea was that two things. Number one is that it represents the idea of the presence of the Holy Spirit. So as it's kind of right, it's moving like that. Okay. The other story that I have heard, okay, because again, stories that we hear at seminary, is that during the Ottoman occupation, we weren't allowed to recite the creed out loud. So when the priest lifted up the air and he kind of shook it, that was your indication that was the time for you to say the creed. So then you would say the creed to yourself. So those are the two reasons. But I wanted to get it right out of Hugh Wybrew's book.
Didn't I hear once that the creed was printed on the back of the cloth?
And that
so
right.
they could hold it up and people could read it off of the cloth.
Yeah, I mean, those would be big. I avoided that because those would be really
maybe
big,
that's not true.
big letters.
Yeah. All right. Our next person is Nicholas Yerosterios. He asked if you could say a prayer for his mother. Her name is Catherine, and she's in the hospital with a really bad infection, and the doctors don't think they'll be able to cure it.
Oh, wow. So
our prayers are with you, Nicholas.
Did you just say his mom, or did he say
Yes.
His mother, Catherine.
Catherine? Okay. So I say a quick prayer here. Okay. All right. Let's pray the Lord. Lord, have mercy. O Lord Almighty, you are the healer of our souls and bodies. And in your great mercy, we ask that you visit your sister Catherine, who is sick. Stretch forth your hand that is full of healing, and rise her up from her bed, and cure of her illnesses, and put away from her the spirit of disease and malady and pain and fever to which she is bound. And if she has sinned or transgressed against anyone, grant her remission and forgiveness of sins. And also, Lord, we ask that you bless the means employed for the working out of her cure, and grant that she may also endure the suffering in her flesh, and that it may be an avail to her for the correcting and salvation of her soul. For it is yours to show mercy and to save, O Christ our God, and unto you we send up glory as for the eternal Father, and in all holy good and life of your Spirit, now and forever, to the ages of ages. Amen.
Amen. All right.
Joe Mama Roach.
Oh, I see it. There we go. Joe Mama Roach. As a teenage inquirer who goes to a school with limited food options, what do I do in terms of fasting? I know meat is important to my health and development as a teenager.
And Patty Pearson actually goes on to say, beans and rice. It's a complete protein and fast friendly.
So again, best advice. See your priest. Your priest knows you best, okay? So go see your priest. Tell him what your situation is. And people come to me all the time and they say, Father, what is a fasting regime for me that I can use? And then we talk about their situation, and then the priest can prepare something that is suitable for them. So, it's tough to have a universal fasting rule because everybody has their own situations, their own medical issues, their ages, okay? So this is a great chance for you to interact with your priest and say, I'm struggling with fasting. Father, can you help me? So it's not good for me just to give a fasting rule if I don't necessarily know who you are. So the best advice is go see your priest and tell him what your situation is.
Now hypothetically, because Joe Mama Roach, great name, goes on to say that at the school they go to, it's a little limited.
Right.
For instance, for their lunch, they have an entree, a salad bar which has lettuce and a tomato, and a side. Not even beans are an option. So, if somebody came to you with that case here in this parish, what would you say?
I mean, if we're assuming school lunch, I mean, they're maybe high school age, right? At
Well,
best.
At the most, it could be elementary, could be middle, junior.
It could be a boarding school. I mean,
Yeah.
at this particular point, they're stuck with this option.
but under 18 probably.
Okay. So again, not knowing all of it, I would say that they're a growing child.
Oh, they are a teenager. They did say that in
Okay.
their thing.
All right,
Yes.
they're a teenager, and they need their nutrition. Eat what's put in front of you. End of story. Just eat what's put in front of you. When you have the opportunity that you can fast properly, then fast. But fasting is not meant to make you ill. That's not proper fasting. Okay, and if you do that, then you're doing it for piety's sake, and you're not doing it for its true purpose. Okay. If the options are limited, even the canons say that when you're traveling, eat what's put in front of you. So that's my advice.
All right.
I mean, well, my advice in addition to talk to your priest.
Okay. Next up is L. Ron Goyabembe.
I thought you were going to say L. Ron Hubbard.
No.
That'd be a very different type of question.
Yeah. Father Bless, I have heard of incorrupt Romans being discovered in Romania after the persecution. I take this to mean that the individuals became martyrs and saints, or saints.
Well, typically, if they're incorrupt, then there is some type of sainthood that can be attested to them. Yes, absolutely.
Okay. All right. Rebecca Shantz, thinking back on Jesus calming the seas and influencing the weather, does the Orthodox Church currently believe that weather patterns could be a punishment or message from God, either good or bad?
Not necessarily. I wouldn't say that's punishment. I mean, the biggest thing, right, is the rainbow, right? My promise this will never happen again, the flood. Okay, so I would extend that to all kinds of major catastrophic weather events. Okay, so I think that this is a natural part of what happens with nature. We could argue over man's contribution to that. All right. But no, I wouldn't. I orthodoxy would not see that as some type of persecution by God to us.
All right. In between, if you have a few moments in between questions, if you can look up Chamberlain, South Dakota.
Oh, Chamberlain, South Dakota. Oh, okay.
Yeah. And
All
see.
Joe Mama Roche has another question. Would my mom, who is a Baptist and is baptized in that church, she does truly love God and Jesus and does truly want to be like God. However, she's not Orthodox and doesn't want to be. Would she go to heaven?
Why would she be exempt from heaven? So here's how I would answer that question. So what that would require me to say is that Terry's entire family now is not going to heaven because they're Baptist. So the only person in her family who is saved is her. And how am I going to say that? So yes, you can marry me, be Orthodox, but the rest of your family is doomed to not be in heaven. Her family, all of her family members are very Christ-like. They truly believe with all their heart that Christ is Lord and Savior. All right, and this is what Christ has asked of us. Okay, and within the context of the Baptist life, that's the life that they've lived. So what should exempt them from the heavenly kingdom? All right. So if we're going to claim to be Orthodox, okay, then we have the responsibility to be the best Orthodox that we can be, and that helps us to determine what is our passage into heaven. I don't know if you want to add anything to that.
No, I think you covered it. All right, I'm going to go down to skip down to get some questions from someone who has not had a question answered. I make the earthquake.
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 Yeah,
They make the earthquake.
It's proper grammar right there. I love to see it.
What would your advice be for people afraid of confession or living with the self-hatred of doing something truly horrible, even if it was a decade ago?
Okay, read the second part again.
Okay, what would your advice be for people afraid of confession
Right.
and are living with the self-hatred of doing something truly horrible, even if it was a decade ago?
Okay. So, again, as with everything, okay, you got to ease into this. Okay, people just don't pop into confession. Okay, well, most people do not just pop into confession. In fact, with the people that I have converting to the Orthodox faith, I make the first couple of confessions discussions. We're just talking. I'm not looking to get anything. I'm not looking for any deep confessions. I'm not looking for them to spill their soul or anything like that. All I want them to do is they're coming from a place that really hasn't had confession as a sacrament. So the first thing I need to do is make sure that they understand what is the true purpose of confession. So those first couple of discussions are just that. We're talking about what confession is. We're talking about how confession is helpful. If they want to talk about something, okay, all right. But I don't ask them any questions. And so once we get past those first couple of confessions, then they feel more comfortable. Right? Okay, one, they've gotten to know me a little bit more. It's scary to confess to somebody that you have no idea what their thoughts are. I mean, again, as I've said before, am I confessing to some crazed lunatic or fundamentalist or liberal goofball or what? I mean, who's this guy that we're talking to? So I need a couple of meetings to sit down and kind of feel him out. See where he is. Not that you're choosing what you want to hear, but is this person going to be fair in terms and pastoral in how they treat you? And I found that after a couple of meetings, they get relaxed and they might tell me a few things and say, well, here is, some issues I've been facing. And then we talk about those. And the more comfortable they get, then the deeper those confessions come. But there should be no expectation that at the first confession, you are purging your soul of everything. I just don't think that that's realistic. I mean, you got to get to know the person. We can talk all day long about you're not confessing to the man, you're confessing to God. I get all that, okay? But unfortunately, I have known priests who are less than pastoral, and they have done more damage to the person in confession than any good. So you have to take the time to get to know the person that you're confessing to.
Did you tell us once a story where somebody went to a monastery for confession and was barred from Holy Communion for years?
10 years.
10 years.
10 years. They confessed. And again, I mean, it's not a sin of murder or something like that. I mean, it was something like gambling, that they gambled or something, and they told him you're now banned for communion for 10 years, and so he went to the diocese and he says, what can you do? And the bishop says, I'm sorry, but you placed yourself under his
as the spiritual father.
Yeah, you placed him as your spiritual father, and there's nothing that I can do. That's a bond that you have established, and now you have to live with that bond. And he didn't want to, but so
yeah,
you have to be careful.
Yes.
There does not appear to be a dedicated Orthodox church in Chamberlain. So, okay.
Well, I mean, spoiler alert.
Okay, so, all right.
And now, once more from Joe Mama Roche, they're asking, can I have a blessing for free without doing the bingo? My name is John.
John, we'd like to bless you for health and for joy, and that you may find happiness in the Orthodox faith.
All right.
I don't know if that's what he wanted, but that's what you get.
John, you just won bingo. Metaphorically.
That's
there
right.
we go.
Yes. And Greek 70s. Oh, this thing just jumped to me. Greek 70s said, Where did it go? I have lost it. Oh, don't you just hate it when your questions don't get through because of censorship? Makes me not want to ask anything anymore. What would your advice be, Demos?
That is YouTube.
Maybe
I don't I on my end I don't delete questions unless they are, because we like the challenging questions. Okay, you've got a challenging question, ask it here, because that's part of the point of the show. YouTube, the only time I ban something is if somebody's in here being very hostile or intrusive. However, try asking your question. If it's getting blocked by YouTube, try asking it in a more creative way. Father and I are pretty good, and Terry, Presbytera, we're pretty good at reading between the lines. And if that still doesn't work, email us your question at agocny@gmail.com, and we'll address it at the beginning of one of our shows.
yes, that's a good advice. All right. Raven Giuliani asks, what is the thing that everyone recites just before the doors, the doors? My parish does it in Greek, and I recognize the rhythm, but not the words. It is before we do the creed.
The doors, and wisdom, let us be attentive.
The recital, but right before that.
It's before we do the creed, is what they're saying.
See, Father, your challenge is you don't think of the liturgy backwards.
No, I just.
Yes. I'm trying to think.
Okay. Yes, let us love one another, that with one mind we may confess.
The people, but they're asking, what is it the people?
Oh, what the people say? Father, Son, and Holy.
Oh, you have to sit down,
I have
because
to sit down.
they
Okay.
can't. You're headless.
Oh, gotcha. All right. So, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, Trinity, one in essence and undivided. Pater aion ke agio pneuma, toriado motion ke ad aporiston. Right?
Yes.
Okay.
And
So
is that right before the creed?
that is right, because after this,
That's the creed.
and I knew it took me a long time, but finally I found it. Okay. So it's volume 1.
Oh my gosh, that must be 10 times today.
What?
You standing up.
If you've got that on your bingo card. He says he found it, and yet I see him still looking.
He's like
Nope.
on the edge of our seats waiting.
Here it is. Okay, finally, I'm getting a views. I love these books now because they got answers. Okay,
That's a good thing about books.
they got answers in them. Okay,
The author will be very happy to hear that.
all right. And so, why does the fanning of the holy elements take place, and how did it come about? The fanning, not the striking or the beating, as sometimes it is badly said or written, of the precious gifts by the priest, and the shaking of the air during the recitation of the symbol above the gifts has its origin in this fanning, even though various symbolic interpretations were later given to it. All right. The fanning is also owed to the custom that is prevalent in our land, that at the grace of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, the priest blesses the people, also holding the air in his hands. Nowadays, we are unaware of the purpose of this fanning, but it has practical reasons. Okay. So, the apostolic constitutions written at the end of the 4th century gave orders that the deacons should fan gently to drive away small flying animals, that they may not come near to the cup. All right. And
Gotta get rid of all those pesky hummingbirds.
And the divine liturgy of Philotheos of Constantinople defines the purpose of fanning that takes place with all piety as for a fly or any animals not to set upon the precious gifts.
Gnats, flies,
So
bees.
always a practical reason shrouded in symbolism.
Yeah, I
Right.
thought about that, but I didn't want to say it. I'm like, oh, is it there for doing for bugs? But it makes sense.
Yeah.
All right.
Sorry,
So
so
we
I had to find that.
Good man. We have a $20 super chat from Gus, our good friend Gus, who get your prayer book ready, Father. Prayers for my wife, April. She is having her brain surgery tomorrow morning.
Wow.
Oh.
Okay. So, and her name? Again?
April.
April. April. Okay. So, let's pray the Lord. Lord, have mercy. Lord Almighty, the healer of our souls and bodies, who put down and raise up and chastise and heal, do you in your great mercy visit our sister April, who is sick, and stretch forth your hand that is full of healing and health, so that she may rise up from her bed and be cured of her illness. Put away from her the spirit of disease and malady, pain and fever to which she is bound. And also, Lord, bless the means employed for the working out of her cure. Grant that she may endure this suffering in her flesh and the wounding of her body, so that it may be to the avail for the correction and salvation of her soul. For it is yours to show mercy and to save, O Christ our God. And unto you send up glorious with your eternal Father and your all holy, good, and life-giving Spirit, now and forever, to the ages of ages. Amen. And Gus, we certainly continue to pray for your wife.
And please let us know how she is doing.
Yes, updates.
All right. Ali Zeg asks, what Bible do you recommend? I only have Protestant version, trying to read the Bible a few times a week.
Well, okay, so I would say Orthodox Study Bible first. One, because it contains great notes that help you understand Orthodox theology. I personally, outside of this, I'm a fan of NIV. I like the way that NIV is. It's not the absolute exact translation, but it is the spirit of the translation that I really like about NIV. And then the one that I used in seminary, which was my professor's favorite, is the New Jerusalem Bible. So those are the three that I would recommend: Orthodox Study Bible, New Jerusalem Bible, NIV.
I have a question that came from someone in this room, someone you may have seen at the beginning of the show, who asks, hypothetically, what would you do if a fly or a bug got into the holy cup?
Oh, that's easy. You eat it.
Thou shalt not kill.
Right? Right. Now, what some priests will do is that with a spoon, they will take it out and they'll put it in the censer and they'll burn it. But
isn't that killing?
What? Well, I think it's already dead once it's in there, right? I mean, isn't it?
Well, I would assume so.
Right? But the army thing is to eat it.
Wow. So if you spill communion on carpet, you have to lick the carpet. If a bug goes in, you have the priest's life isn't easy, is it?
Is it? So just make sure the flies don't get in the.
All right.
Why do you think the veils cover the thing, right?
So they don't see you back there eating bugs? Is that?
No.
Okay.
I mean,
that's the way you said it, man.
All right. Well, moving on from this conversation is, I believe it's pronounced Sky 1675. Hello, Father. I spoke to you briefly earlier today at RIT. How did you like speaking with all of the students there?
Oh, that's I'm in my element. I love it, and because I don't like talking in echo chambers. I love being challenged by really great questions. And the people that came up, at least while I was there, asked some really important questions that we have to answer as Christians. We can't give silly answers. We've got to speak intelligently about our faith and communicate and not be scared to answer really tough questions. And so everybody was, I was very, very impressed how engaging and polite everybody was. We just had a discussion. They brought up tough questions, and then we kind of engaged in a dialogue. We didn't necessarily, in each case, leave having been changed like, oh yes, now I believe in that. But we had a really good dialogue. So I'm excited. I'm ready to do it again. So thanks again to the students at RIT for all those great questions.
And speaking of challenging questions, our very next one from Lenny.
Yes, from Lenny. What is the Orthodox advice for parents with children, teens or adult, who identify as transgender?
Oof. So it certainly is age dependent. Okay. You know, from an Orthodox perspective, an adult, through his free will or her free will, has to make their own choices. Okay. But in the case of children who are not necessarily aware of the ramifications and the consequences of the decisions that they make, have been graced by God to be given parents. And parents have the responsibility to say that, you know, we feel that at this point, this is something that has to be thought out and that you're still developing. We are allowed to say that this is, at your age, this is not a good thing. I am here as a parent, and my responsibility is to protect you. Okay, and part of that protection is from ever-changing societal norms. Okay, just because society says it's a norm does not make it a norm. And I, as a parent, have a responsibility and a right to say that at this point in your life, I cannot, I would say bless, but I cannot sanction.
Condone.
I cannot sanction this act for this reason. I mean, and then you can give them a reason. I mean, obviously the reason is going to be structured to their age, right? I mean, you're going to tell a 5-year-old something different than you're going to tell a 12-year-old, than you're going to tell a 17-year-old. But you have the right to say no, and you have the right, and then you have the obligation to explain why that is. All right. What children won't say but expect, because I do hear this quite a bit, is they want their parents to be parents, and they want somebody that in front of their peers they can blame. Well, I can't do. I've known quite a few kids, you know, who have said that they use their parent, not you, I mean, you know, that they've used their parents to help them get out of very difficult situations. No, I don't want to take drugs because, man, if my dad ever found out, that would be it. Or, no, I don't want to drive drunk because, man, I'd get my car taken away right away. You know, they know that behavior is bad or wrong, but they don't want to look bad in front of their friends, so they use their parents. Okay, and parents understand that. They're like, yes, that's fine, do that. But we do have a right to be parents. And I think this societal idea that I'm not your parent, I'm your friend, that is not an Orthodox ideal in terms of what is the definition of a parent. I don't know, you want to?
Well, what if the child is an adult, like 25, 30, even older? What do you say? Do you go along and say, okay, I'm going to support you in this, or do you speak your mind and say?
No, you speak your mind. Just because somebody wants to do something does not demand my acceptance. Okay, I certainly never stop loving that person. That person is never not invited to my house, but I have the right to not accept that behavior. And if they don't like it, I mean, you know, I mean, I get it. It's a tough situation to be in, but you know, when you make decisions, you have to be able to accept the consequences. And it is improper for you to do something and then expect that I have to then tolerate and go along with that decision. I don't have to do that. Okay, you know, I can give my reasons, okay, and then you can continue the action that you're doing, but it's not mandated or required on me that I have to then willingly accept then that behavior.
All
All
right.
right, we have
But-
greeting. Oh, sorry.
Like I said, but that does not ever stop the fact that I love you, and you're never not invited to the house or whatever it is. I just want to make that part clear. That's seeing Jesus Christ in and the image and likeness of God in every person.
Approach the situation in a Christ-like manner rather than be abrasive, because then you're
Yep.
closing the door that's never going to be reopened.
100%, yes.
We have greetings from our good friend Santa Man 1. Our prayers are with you and your family as well. And Joanne says, good evening from Annunciation in Chicago, small town of Hegwich.
All right. Look at that. Chicago tuning in. Okay. Chicago. I
Bingo.
love that town.
I have my imaginary bingo card here.
And for our next episode, Father will sing the entire soundtrack out of the musical Chicago.
No,
So-
they won't tune in. Don't tell them that. They may not do, or they may tune in. Who knows?
Well, it was a Sinatra song, so I had to sing
I
it,
want
so.
to hear your version of all that jazz. Anyway, go on.
Jazz hands.
Carol Weaver says, if before baptism, so before you're baptized,
Okay.
it is forgiven, is it not? Anything after baptism should be confessed for sure. All things known and unknown. Sometimes we might not remember all, but our Lord will know. So is that any?
Yeah, I mean, right. You are because you have at baptism you have taken off the old self, right, which was the sinful self. That doesn't mean you don't continue to sin, but now you have an outlet for that sin, which is confession, so that you can keep the baptismal garment clean. So yeah, very good.
Real quick, Ren1347 asks, do you have a recommendation for a children's Bible?
Oh, I skipped that question, didn't I? Sorry.
No worries. That's what I'm here for.
He talked, and I lost my train
I
of.
think we have a record for how many times he got up in a single episode.
So there are some really good children's Bible. This one's a little bit older. There's probably a revised edition of this, but this is a Bible story book for children, and so full of nice pictures. And the Bible stories are written in that child language. And in fact, I've used this several times, like during the Holy Week retreat for the little kids. And so I will read not the gospel reading, but I'll read the reading out of this book because it's written in little kid language. So this is one that I like in particular. It's an older book, but there's probably a newer edition of this. So
All right.
so yeah, just called Bible Story Book.
And as an addendum, I know this awesome YouTube channel which has this Orthodox virtual Sunday school.
Virtual Orthodox Sunday School.
About what, 100 different lessons. So check that out.
All right. I'm going to skip, come back to a couple comments at the end, but I want to go down because Richard Rudolph has not had a question answered yet. Is it possible to baptize a child before their parent if the parent is on their way to becoming Orthodox but aren't yet?
Sure. I mean, baptism is an independent function. I've had that situation a couple of times, and I typically ask that the parents wait until they're ready to be Orthodox, and then baptize together as a family. Just that then they're all kind of coming into the faith together. So I prefer to do it that way, but there's nothing that says that the child can't be baptized first.
All right. And then come back to Lenny in a moment. Richard then asks, is it permissible to do your prayer roll in your bed facing east?
Sure. I mean, again, God will hear the prayer whether you're facing east, north, south, or west.
And in bed, is it okay to do it in bed? I mean,
Yeah,
thinking that you're not ill and you can't get up. Is it okay?
Okay, yes, but it's not really the best solution. I mean, there should be some effort on our part, right?
There is one prayer. It says should be read immediately upon arising. So, like, if you wake up, sit up in bed.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, so immediately upon arising, yes. So you could say that one in bed as you wake up.
All right. And then Lenny asks, how do we cope with the heartbreak for our transgender, now adult children that shun us for our belief in Christ?
Whew. Oh.
I mean, this can be expanded to any younger demographic that shuns you for Christ, and we're seeing quite a bit of that.
We are, and look, the answer is easily said and is just it's difficult. We have to stand by our Orthodox principles, by our Christian principles. Okay, because there is a reason why we believe what it is that we believe, and we believe that there are dangerous and dangerous activities. Okay, and as Christians, we can see that. All right. Unfortunately, many times there's not anything that we can do because adults have their God-given free will, and they have exercised that will according to what they see is right. But that doesn't require that we have to see that that's right. So and again, this answer is a tough answer, and it's hard to swallow, but our prayers then have to be that those people then become illumined by the light of Christ so that they can see what is the truth, right? And that's why we have to constantly keep that door open, and say, even though you don't want to see me, that doesn't mean that I've stopped loving you, nor does it mean that you're not welcome here. So we consistently have to show that light of Christ, but at the same time, we can't show that light of Christ as acquiescing to a behavior that denies our Orthodox principles. It's a tough answer.
All right. Presbyter, you said you had a couple comments?
Yes. One from I Make to Earthquake. I'm an inquirer, have been visiting a monastery regularly. I have a prayer corner, prayer rope, have confessed to an abbot, but I still don't feel ready or like I don't belong in a church yet. What advice would you give for that?
Then just continue on the path. I mean, the church, again, is the Orthodox Church is experiential. That means that there is an experience. Okay, so you are going through these things right now. There's no set rule that says if I do these things, all of a sudden I'm going to feel Orthodox. Everybody is on their own path. Okay, these are good things that you're doing. Okay, just relax and enjoy the ride. Right? Just enjoy the ride and let Orthodoxy infuse who you are, as opposed to trying to obtain something, right? Don't treat it as a possession you're trying to get. Let it infuse you. And that means that you just have to, as they say, you have to give it to God. Relax.
I mean, is anybody ever going to feel truly worthy?
No.
Exactly.
No, absolutely not.
Everett's Workshop says, I have wanted the full Kittle set like you have behind you for some time. Hearing you talk about it a few weeks ago pushed me over the edge, and my eBay box with my new to me set came the other day. Oh. So they now have the Kittle set.
They have it. Hey, if you're gonna do any type of serious Christian study, you cannot be without Kittle. You gotta have the Kittle book. Congratulations for that. And it's really not that expensive. That Christian bookstore, the flyer you always get in the mail, they're always advertising it on ChristianBooks.com. They're always advertising that set on sale. So.
Yeah, the whole Kittle caboodle.
The whole Kittle.
That was my bad joke of the night.
Did you do the sound effect for that? Okay. And then I'm not sure if this is for you or someone else in there. Maybe I missed it. you need to show a before and after picture of the bookshelf. I'm not sure if it's referring to this bookshelf.
Well,
or...
I mean, it could be a reference to how it looked at the beginning of the
Oh,
show to
yeah.
how many
Now,
books.
how many books are off the shelf now, right?
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what Father's going to spend the next 15 minutes doing, reorganizing his
Yes.
bookshelf. All right, well, that brings us to the end of tonight's show.
Okay.
Thank you all once again for joining us. Please make sure to like, share, subscribe, hype, do all that. We're live every Thursday night at 7 p.m. Eastern or New York time.
Do we have any videos coming out? Is there something?
Oh, we do. We have an Orthodoxy 101 coming out tomorrow. Once again, returning to our wedding series. And we have new episodes for Chosen Season 1 coming out soon, too. Father is going to visit Loch Ness to look for the Loch Ness monster. Yes, we traveled to Scotland. There's a video coming out. And also, keep a lookout for a couple of different Christmas specials. We are going to be doing a reaction video to the initial Chosen pilot, The Shepherd, which is about the Nativity. We thought we'd save it for that. And because people were asking, I do have one other reaction video. I'm not going to disclose it, but
Ooh.
it's going to be Father's entry into being a true YouTuber.
Oh.
Yes.
Okay. Oh, and
it's a YouTube hazing ritual. We'll have to do it.
Oh, okay. And also, I want to thank Hopdev for being on the show tonight and talking a little bit about that. So go check out his YouTube channel, which is In the Midst. Christ is in our midst.
Or the YouTube channel name is just called Midst. M-I-D-S-T.
Oh, the YouTube channel is Midst.
Yeah.
Okay, but it's Christ is in our midst.
Yeah,
That's where it comes from. All right, so go check that out. Hopefully, he's going to invite me on his show, so we'll be seeing that, and we will see all of you next week. Thank you, Presbytera, for once again good showmanship.
Good showmanship. Okay.
And I just saw a question from Ginge. We're gonna open up next week's show with that question, so tune in for that. I got it.
All right. Thanks, everybody, and have a great night.
Have a great night, and we'll see you on Sunday.
Yes. Good night.